look up above, the sunlight seems like it is gonna break in, and something ain't right. Yeah, something ain't right. Oh, something ain't right.
What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another episode. Today, this one's gonna be special. I wanted to share with you guys a little bit about my childhood and a story that just kind of came to my head and reminded me of the good times. And when I was a child, it's a little different than what we do on this channel. I'm just gonna share this with you guys. But most of you guys know I grew up down in Brownsville, Texas, and South Texas. We're a little bit different than everybody else in Texas. It's kind of weird to explain unless you're from there. Like, we're Texans, but we're a lot different than everybody else. Like, it's just a different environment and vibe down there. Like, there's you have to go experience it. If you've never gone, you should go and check it out. South Padre is right there. Amazing freaking town. Anyways, growing up, we didn't really have a lot of funds, like a lot of you guys. We grew up very, very, very poor. And I got to an age where I was playing sports, and you know how it goes, guys. Like, growing up, you want to make sure that, you're looking fresh. You got the sweet shoes and the cool clothes and whatnot. And unfortunately for us, it was something that, we couldn't really afford. My parents worked hard just to put food on the table and a roof over our heads. And to them, those were priorities. It wasn't like having the cool Jordans and none of that. We had Payless shoes. And for those of you guys that don't know what Payless is, I don't know what to tell you. You're too young. But there was a basketball player that I looked up to, and I still look up to him now. And that was Shaquille O'Neal. He was fresh into his NBA career when I was growing up, and I don't know what it was. I just really enjoyed watching him play, and he's the reason why I wore number 34 from, ever since I can remember. Like, since I started playing basketball, that was my number. It was 34. And I remember when Shaq struck a deal with Reebok, and he came out with his first pair of shoes, and it was called the Shaqnosis. And there were these black and white shoes, and they kind of looked, it was like a little rainbow type looking, black and white. And I remember watching him playing those shoes, and I was just like, damn, I want those shoes, and I would bug the crap out of my dad, like, day and night. Like, Dad, I want those shoes. Like, they're gonna make me play better. Just all the things you come up with as a kid that you feel like your parents are gonna you're gonna persuade your parents and they're gonna buy it for you. I told my dad everything under the moon. Like, they're gonna make me run faster. I'm gonna jump higher. Like, I'm gonna play like Shaq. Like, all these things. And there were a bunch of lies, but I wanted the shoes. And little did I know, my dad started saving up some money every month because I was an up-and-coming, promising basketball player, and I was getting really good. And my hat's off to my parents. They always try to go above and beyond for us. And my dad knew that was one of the things that I really, really wanted. And I would, do extra things around the house. Like, I wash the dishes, I sweep and mop, and I go mow the yard. I did all these things just to earn those shoes. And basketball season started again, and I remember my dad calling me, and I was like, "Yeah, what's up, Dad?" And he's like, "I got something for you." And I was like, "Okay," I didn't think anything of it. And he puts this Reebok box in front of me, and I just start bawling. I'm like, "No way, no way!" And I'm like, "There's no way!" And I opened it up, and it was a Shaqnosis, and I was beyond excited. And when I tell you, beyond excited, I kept the box. A lot of people throw boxes away. I kept the box. I kept the insert thing that went in there. And the only time I ever used these shoes was when I had basketball games. I didn't use them. I didn't wear them for school. I didn't wear them for practice. Nothing. Just strictly games. And, we played quite a bit. And, we would play like Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and sometimes tournaments on the weekends. So when I felt that I was, the shoes were dirty and whatnot, I would come home and I take out the shoelaces, and I have a little bucket with like warm water and just a little bit of soap, and I sit there and wash them real careful, and like just went above and beyond because I knew what those shoes meant to me and what my parents had to do to be able to afford them and give them to me. Like, you know, they made some sacrifices, and, you know, I wanted to make sure that those shoes lasted me a long, long time. And so I used to take out the shoelaces and I dry them, and then I put them on our fence and let them dry in the sun, not in the dryer inside, because it was gonna tumble around and mess up the shoes, and I did not want that. I was like, these shoes are gonna last me forever. And so I started doing that quite often, like probably every 2 or 3 weeks. And one weekend I did that exact same thing I always did, and I hung them up. I went inside, I was letting them dry. And a couple hours later, I came outside to grab them, to put them back in their box with the inserts and everything, and set up the shoelaces. And I walked outside, and my shoes weren't in the fence anymore. And, you know, I was like, oh, and my mom put them inside, and my dad grabbed them. I don't know. That was my first initial thought. They're inside the house. So I walk in, and I was like, hey, Mom, like, where'd you put my shoes? Like, I'm going to put them back together and put them away. And my mom goes, what do you mean? I'm like, yeah, like, did you bring my shoes inside? Like, because they're not on the fence. And my mom's like, no. So I was like, oh, maybe it was my dad. So I walk over to my dad, and I'm like, hey, Dad, did you bring my shoes inside? And my dad's like, no. Did you ask your mother? And I was like, I just did. And then literally the worst thing that you can tell a kid at that age is what went through my mind, and my heart just sank. And I realized that somebody had stolen my shoes. And I started crying in front of my dad, and my dad's like, what's wrong? And I was like, somebody stole my shoes. And like, I was just bawling. Like, I hadn't cried like that. And my dad runs outside, we look for him, like, we drove around, try to see if we can find, I don't know, somebody in the streets walking with them, and we can get them back. And I mean, we drove for hours. I walked, I was on my bicycle, like, weeks went by, and I would do it like every day after school. And, you know, my parents were disappointed because they knew it wasn't really my fault, but they were like, damn it, like, we did drop some money on those things. So, you know, they ended up buying me like another pair of shoes that were like, you know, generic shoes, but my shoes were gone. Like, they were gone. Like, there was nothing that I could do. And I was really sad about them. Like, I cried, and, you know, I just wasn't eating and stuff. And my dad was like, it's okay. Like, whenever we can afford to buy you another pair, we'll get you another pair. And I was like, I don't want another pair. I want those. Like, those were the ones that you got me, and those what meant the world to me. We never found them. That was that. He ended up getting me another pair of shoes. And I remember telling myself, I was like, when I grow up, I'm going to buy myself that pair of shoes and kind of relive my, you know, younger days or whatever. I don't know. I made myself a promise that I was going to get those shoes. But just like everything else, you know, when you start growing up, other things become more important. And to me, that was the case, right? I got to high school, and, you know, I started playing varsity at my freshman level, at a freshman level football, and that took a lot of time. And then the same thing with basketball. I started playing varsity as a freshman, and down here in Texas, for the most part, when you're on the varsity team, the school provides shoes for you. So at that point, like, there was no real reason why my parents needed to buy me like expensive shoes, because we all had to wear the same shoes to match the uniforms. So I like slowly started forgetting about it. You know, it was just one of those things where I was like, it wasn't that important at the time. And the other things were keeping me distracted. And then obviously joined the service, went off to the service, got wounded, spent years in the hospital, kept just kind of, you know, living my life, and slowly but surely kind of forgot about it. But it was always in the back of my head. And then I linked up with some buddies who, they're freaking sneakerheads. Like, these guys, like every month, that's the new shoe's gonna drop. They like send a text in a group, and they're like, hey, these new Jordans are dropping. Like, you guys should check them out. And I was like, why are they adding me to this? You know, I'm not really a sneakerhead, but I like shoes. And they added me on that group, and I just kept looking at them, and I ordered some shoes that I thought I liked and whatnot. And then I was having dinner with one of my buddies, and I was like, dude, like, I told him the story that I'm telling you guys, and he goes, well, why don't you look them up on this app? Like, you can find them. And I'm like, no, you can't. And I was like, those shoes were made so long ago. And he goes, I can find these shoes. And I'm like, shut up. And we have dinner. And then, we're hanging out. And then he goes, dude, I found them. And he shows them to me on the app. And I'm like the same excitement I had the first time that I saw them. I was like, holy crap. Like, I was excited. It brought all those memories back. It brought I can't even describe it, to be honest with you. It was like, holy smokes, like, wow. And, I type in size 13 after I downloaded the app and enter all my information. And I order them, and I got them in the mail. And I'll be honest with you. I'll show them to you guys so you guys can see them. But I'll be honest with you. Like, when I first opened them and I wasn't filming, I should have. Like, I was excited. It brought all those good memories back because, mostly my parents, to be honest with you, because they went above and beyond for me as a child to get me these shoes when we couldn't afford them. And it was like, like a parent's love and trying to give us something was just amazing to me. So, like, when I opened the box, I was like, oh, hold it back, bro. Like, because it was just that excitement. It was great. It was amazing. It made me feel like a child again. It made me feel like, those times where nothing else mattered. There was no worries in the world. It was just going to school, playing basketball, and hanging out with your friends. And that's what these shoes did to me. And, I know there's a lot of people out there that are like, we shouldn't look at athletes this way and they're not real heroes and blah, 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 blah. But as a kid, the ultimate goal was like play basketball, join the NBA, live an awesome life. Like, and then I had the player that I looked up was Shaquille O'Neal. Like, I was like, dude, I can be like that guy, except I'm not 7'7" or whatever. I'm 6'2". But, that's kind of the thing that I was looking up to, and I still look up to that guy. He does a lot of amazing things in the communities that he's in, and people don't ever see that. But I'm kind of getting sidetracked. But that's all that made me feel when I had these shoes, and I haven't worn them, but I will. But let me show them to you guys because it was awesome when I got them, and I was just I don't know. But here they are. These are the Shaq Gnosis. These were the first shoes that he had as a professional athlete. And then, there's his logo down there and up here and the Reebok's, logo on the sides. But this was the first shoe that I had that meant the world to me, that I got robbed as a kid. And it really did a number on me. And, I look forward now and I'm like buying them on an app and being able to like afford them and have them in my hands and whatnot and share this story with you guys. Like, it just became a full circle type deal thing where like I was excited, and I haven't even shown it to my dad, but I'm going to send a picture to my dad and tell him like, hey, like, look what came in the mail the other day. And thank you. I love you. And mom for, buying these for me and making me happy as a child. And now here they are, and yeah, I freaking love them. I know they're not the prettiest shoes that you have ever seen, but to me they are. They mean a lot, and yeah, they're freaking awesome. So that's my little story about a pair of shoes that made a little impact in my life growing up, and I have them again, and I'm gonna wear them one of these days whenever I feel like taking them out of the box, because I don't know, it's that thing where I was like, I don't want to get them dirty or take them outside or have somebody step on my shoes, but I'm thinking about it. I'll probably end up wearing them one of these days. But yeah, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it, and it's I don't know, I just felt like I needed to share that with you guys, because I know that there's probably a bunch of you guys out there that have similar stories to this and might want to share them as well. And I highly suggest you do. Get a camera and put it on film and put it out to the world. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm going to try to make this a reoccurring thing where we'll share some stories of me growing up, and or maybe stories of me being in the hospital or anything. So if you want to hear some stories, do me a favor, drop the comment down below and let me know what you guys want to know about, like whether it was my injuries or during the military or before the military, any of that stuff you guys want to know. Please let me know on the comments down below. Guys, I love you. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you guys next time. But until then, crispy on.